Hi friends, Renee Keese here with Carolina Creative. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here with card making ideas for you. Today I'm playing again with this lovely the Sunflower 3D embossing folder. And today you can see I put a piece of white cardstock in there. This is 5 by 3 3/4, so I'm going to put a frame around it. I'm going to mat this. And I've already kind of selected which section of this embossing folder I want to use. I want these two big sunflowers to appear. So I'm ready to run this through my embossing machine. You've been seeing me do cards with this. They're basically two colors, two tones in order to make the sunflowers pop. I'm going to do something a little different today, so follow along and see what I'm doing. Here's my workspace. I'm going to leave my card here, and I'm going to use some sentiment dies out of the Everyday Arches, so I've got that here as well. So here goes the sunflower embossing folder. I do need the gray plate for this because it's a little bit thicker and it doesn't need the extra plate. It's just these two to run it through. All right, so let me move this out of my way and show you the pretty embossing I've got here with the embossing folder. So now I've got one sunflower you're looking straight on and one kind of from the side. All right, that was what I wanted. So let me, again, I'm just going to put this here. Let me show you what I'm going to do. I wanted to do some multicolor with this. And so I'm going to do a little watercoloring technique. I'm going to try something different here. So follow along. I have picked wild wheat for my card base. And my mat, my frame here is crushed curry. So my ink colors are crushed curry and old olive. I could add in another yellow if I want to. I'm going to wait. Well, let's see. Let's just wait for now. I'm thinking 2 might be enough because of the watercolor effect. It's going to give it multiple tones anyway. But the third color I need to introduce, I'm going to grab Early Espresso because I do want something for the seeds in the middle, and I want that to be a contrast. So here's my color palette right here. All right, setting all the paper aside, I'm going to use my aqua painter today. Now, you could do this with Wink of Stella, but I decided I wanted to add my glitter later, and so I'll add that where I want it instead of watercoloring with it. So I'm just going to put some, I'm going to use 2 colors for this to start. I'm going to put some crushed curry, and then I'm going to add a little old olive here on the other side and use this to start painting with. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a drop or 2 of water on here and just kind of mix it up. Yeah, just squish it out there. Pick up some, some of that ink. And then I'm just going to start, I'm going to watercolor wherever it's raised. And you can already see I'm getting multiple shades. Let's play with this way. Multiple shades. I'm kind of starting where the veins are, where it's a little deeper color, and then swishing it out and making it lighter. That's why I was thinking I probably didn't need a lighter shade of yellow to go back over this. Now I do have to think about, okay, where are these flower petals and where am I going to put the green leaves? So I'm going to make this petals. And then the underside down here I think is going to be leaves. So I'll go back and get that in just a little bit. So that's the first big flower. Now this is also the side view of a sunflower right here. So I'm going to give a few of those some yellow and then look at how cool the stem is here. So I'm going to do that in this crushed curry as well. Now I've got big petals here. So I'm just kind of shading this. I need just a little more, a little more water. Might need to add a little ink to that. Here we go. So you see, this goes pretty quickly. I'm not being extra particular about where the color goes or how it looks. I'm just putting some color where the flower petals are. These large. I do feel like I need some more there. Now, the other trick is I could be pulling ink where I've squeezed here into my ink pad and pull some of that out too. That may have a little Wink of Stella in it, but that's okay because I'm going to be adding Wink of Stella before we're done. Okay, so that's raised. Let me just make sure I've got all the flower petals I want. Oh, I think these are flower petals over here on the corner too. So I'm going to hit those with a little of this. Now, as you get a little more water, of course, it makes the color lighter. And I'm okay with that. I like the shading and the graduation that I'm getting here. If I want to make it darker, I'm just going to add a little ink. See what I'm doing? Just pulling it straight off the ink pad and then just kind of smooshing it in. Okay, so that's a little damp. I am wiping my brush off because it's wet, obviously. So now I'm going to use my green here. I'm going to add just a little bit of water to this old olive. Could have used a bigger block. I didn't really think about, how much I was going to need. So let's start with some darker green here. Shade that in. I'm kind of following the veins just a little bit. Yeah, let's do that. Let's follow the veins up here and then make it faint out up to the sides. I'm just, kind of pulling that color. So let's go back and fill this in. That might be a darker leaf. That's okay. And I'm not sure if that's a leaf or if that's a flower, but it's all going to be green just for simplicity. So I'm going to start with a little darker here on the stem and work my way out and just watercolor around this. And then I'll have to decide, if there's some things that I just don't want to pop out, I just may not watercolor those at all. Okay, here's that. Oh, I got that dark, didn't I? And that's okay. It can be different colors. So let's go over to the big flower here. And I can't get too intricate with this aqua painter brush. Well, there are smaller ones, so now they come in a pack of 3 different sizes. I think I still have the older one that is just the original size that we were using, but it works fine, so I'm just sticking with it. I'm going to put a little, oh, I got plenty of ink here. I'm just going to add a little water to that, kind of get it the same shade as what I had over there, and then add some green here. I'll turn this way so that you, the viewers, can see this. And I'm just spreading water. I'm squeezing a little water on here as I go too. This is not fluid paper. I'm just using cardstock, so I can't put too much water on here. I'm trying to be gentle with it and just adding, a little bit of water. Let's just smush this whole thing. Okay, so now I've got the leaves. Let's add a little splash more of color up here. Color there. Yeah, I'm kind of liking it. It does look watercolory, doesn't it? Wiping that brush off again, because now I'm going to go to the early espresso. You can tell I've kind of gone from dark to light in my coloring. Oh, I've got a lot to work with there, don't I? All right, I'm just going to move the block out of my way and pull some of this over, give it a drop or two of water so I can work with it. And I'm going to start here where maybe it can be a little darker in the middle and then work my way out and make all those sunflower seeds look like they're just popping right out at you. Okay. So you can see this isn't taking too long. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm not being real exact with this. I'm just kind of going with the flow here. So there's the sunflower seeds. Maybe I want that center a little darker. And then I've got seeds up here. Those look like little bitty ones down there. Grab some more color. Yep. So now what I'm getting at, this is the effect of watercoloring, but you've also got the texture behind it. So you actually can feel all this when you pick it up. It's kind of cool. So let me go ahead. I'm going to, when I mat this, I'm going to give this a few minutes to dry. Might give it more than a few. I'm gonna mount that on there, and I think I want my sentiment on this strip. So what I was planning to do was use Old Olive, and this is the Thanks sentiment. And I'm just going to stamp it in green. It should fill this strip. And if it's not big enough, I may have to do a bigger strip, but I think that's going to work. And then inside, I guess I'm not going to put a flower or anything in there. I was going to put so very much. So it says, thanks so very much. But I want to use my crushed curry again. So I'm mixing up colors here. So this, and I love the font here, the so very much. It looks like it's in cursive. It looks like you wrote it out. So let me just do these so very much. And I could go back. I know if I go through some of my stamps with leaves, I could probably find a green leaf or some flower petals that would coordinate with that if I wanted to put that on there. I have not gotten, there is a new coneflower stamp. I'm thinking it's back ordered right now, so I don't have that, but that would have looked good on here too. So let me start assembling, and we'll see how this goes. It's just a little damp, but I'm betting if I'm careful gluing it down, it'll be fine. So first thing is, I'm going to put this on the inside. I can tell I didn't close that ink pad. Put this on the inside. I'm going to dot my glue like this on the edges. So the card is going to say thanks so very much. And then what I think I'll do is I will just go ahead and start working from the bottom up. And in this case, I can just apply a pretty liberal amount of liquid glue on this mat. It's going to be hidden behind all the pretty artwork. But look how different, I'll just show you this. Look how different it is when you watercolor versus using the inks. This is a really soft effect. It's a totally different effect. I mean, it really is that watery effect. And I did not add the Wink of Stella yet. So I do want to go back and where the veins are, I'm just going to call some attention to that because this is still a little damp, so it's a good time to do it. And add a little shimmer here and maybe on the seeds here where it's textured and make that pop. I could follow a couple of the leaf veins too. You know, it's terrible. Once you get started with this, you just don't want to stop. So I have to remind myself, don't overdo it. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to, see how this works. I'm going to very delicately and gently, because of all the texture here, I want to make sure I have adhesive. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal so that it will lay flat. Yeah, I think it's going to work. I'm being delicate because this is still a little damp, but I'm on the underside, so there's actually less moisture there. All right, so I'm now going to layer this up. So I have Wheaty Gold, crushed curry. You can see there's a little bit of the crushed curry pops out, but it actually watercolored much lighter, so I do kind of like that. And then I'm going to run that. I think I'll flag the end here. Nip that off the end and trim that edge and flag this just to give it a little bit of interest. And if it's still too big, I'll just shorten it. So let's see what I've got. Oh, that's about right. Or do I want it up here? Oh, I think I like it up there. Let that really show the large sunflowers. And I need to grab, I have one left on that sheet. That's dead. And let me pull out a couple more dimensionals. So I'm going to add a little elevation to this on top of the embossing. Oh, so now I want it to go where I want it to go, like that. And just pull these backings off. And since there's only 3, I'll use my thumbnail and run this across the top. And then I did pull out a little bit of the gold twine. Oh, I do like that. It just adds a little splash without taking up a lot of space. And not really, it's kind of a neutral, so it's not really introducing a new color either. So let me put a glue dot behind that. And if I want to shrink this bow down a little bit, I could pull those tails and then trim just a smidge off of there so it's not quite so big. Let me Get rid of this trash off my work table and get it out of my way. Okay, so there's a whole different style card based on still using the really cool 3D embossing folder, right? So I'm using the 3D embossing folder. Different look than doing a tone-on-tone where I might have put, you know, curry or wild wheat over daffodil. This was black over daffodil. So very different look, much softer because I watercolored it. So that's my card making tip for today. If you've got some cool embossing folders that you like that have a lot of detail like this, you think about watercoloring right on there and giving it some depth and dimension and some multicolor. So thanks for joining me today. If you like the products and the projects you've seen here, you can find me at Carolina Creative or hashtag Carolina Creative. I'm also on the Stampin' Up! Network. It's Renee Keese at StampinUp.net. So stay tuned for the next video. Appreciate you.